What is a sound that people should know means immediate danger? If you hear wildlife go quiet, disaster is imminent. If you hear your kids go quiet, disaster is in progress. Kind of the opposite. But if you see a massive explosion, turn around, cover your ears and open your mouth. The sound, shockwave, is coming and will blow out your eardrums. Sound of water getting louder coming your way if you're near a stream or river. Flash floods are no joke. Edit. Thanks everyone for all the upvotes. A siren on any Australian beach is almost always a shark alarm, and you should get out of the water as fast as possible. Plenty of people here are saying wildlife going silent. That is true. But also the reverse applies. If wildlife is going absolutely haywire, it may mean that a natural disaster like an earthquake is imminent. It's not fully understood how animals are able to detect these things and panic. But it may be that they're sensitive to smaller tremors we cannot detect. Or maybe even via geonavigation, magneto-receptive abilities. Many animals have been documented panicking and attempting to flee before an earthquake. Forest fires can cause this too. Either way, trust the animals and get the hell away. Fire alarm. So many people ignore them and it can cost lives. Don't assume that it's nothing. Check things out before you settle down for a nap. Those that did a DNA test, what's the most bizarre, shocking thing you have discovered? My very snobby prim and proper family member, by marriage only, found out her grandmother was actually a prostitute who went on the run after killing her husband. Her crimes tallied up to prostituting in 4 countries where it was illegal, 3 separate counts of bigamy, 2 of murder, multiple thefts, multiple assaults. Family member tried hiding the results lol. My friend found out he descended from Nazis that fled to Argentina. He was told he was Argentinian his whole life. Turns out that was somewhat accurate. Just head over to r23andme and search by top. The most screwed up one I saw on there was a dude and his girlfriend of 2 took it. Turned out they were half-sibling. And both were from the same sperm donor. Proof and everything was in the post. The girl immediately broke it off after finding out. The dude was in limbo wanting to make it work. I guess I could pretend that I was shocked to find out my dad is not my biological father. I didn't think he wasn't. But I knew there was a possibility considering my mom's social habits. Turns out my father is my dad's best friend and the kid I played with as a toddler was my half-brother. Both are dead. As is my mom. So my dad and I just don't acknowledge it and carry on as usual. ETA. I can't believe how this blew up. I'm trying to respond to everyone's questions. But here are a few bits. Grandpa and this woman were in LUV. My cousin has boxes of artifacts from their relationship. They went to family weddings together, socialized publicly, etc. Apparently in these days, parents had to give permission for a girl to marry a foreigner. Don't know if this was a legal thing, or a societal pressure thing. But the bottom line was that her parents wouldn't give permission. He still sent money and photos and stuff. And so they decided to tell him the baby had died in hopes that he would stop trying. It worked. Grandpa went on and got married and had 3 kids. Then split and got married again. This time to my grandma. But my whole life, he got so emotional when talking about NL. More so than Italy or Germany, where he was also stationed. I always thought that this was because he was part of the liberation of Holland. So he felt more connected to the people there. I was kind of right. My Dutch cousin and his family are amazing. They invited my partner and I to NL last year. And the best way I can phrase is we met as strangers. And we left as family. We still talk all the time. His 8-year-old daughter loves to make fun of my Canadian accent when I try to speak Dutch. And I love that. Second edit. Just a fun story. When I visited NL, I was lucky enough to go to my cousin's anniversary party and meet a couple hundred wonderful locals. They kept excitedly calling us the Kennedys. And my partner and I were so confused, but flattered. We thought maybe it was slang for North Americans? We had no idea. Fast forward a couple of days, and we went to the cemetery for Canadian soldiers and saw the sign. Canadese is Dutch for Canadians. Rolling on the floor laughing. Grandpa fathered a baby in the Netherlands at the end of WW2. Her parents didn't want her coming back to Canada with him, so they told him the baby died of pneumonia around age 3. I didn't find out until Grandpa had been dead for about 15 years. Found Grandpa's name on another family tree and sent a "Hi. And you are?" message. Immediately got back, "We've been looking for you all for years," message. Fast forward a few years, and my Dutch cousin has some to visit us in Canada. And I have been to the Netherlands to meet a huge family I never knew about. It's wild. I was contacted by my full older brother 2 years ago. My parents gave him up. Got married a year later. Then had me and my siblings. Mother took the secret to the grave. I thought I was the oldest all my life, named after my dad. Now I find out I had an older brother all along. People always talk about dead-end jobs, but what are some dead-end lifestyles? Loving people who don't love you back. Addiction. Edit. To anything. Doesn't have to be substance. Living to work. I used to fall into a tunnel vision where I hyper-focused on the job and woke up to realize I've been neglecting myself and my relationships. Now, I'm finding the balance of working to live, and also making time to enjoy life with my family and friends. Alcohol. It's expensive. Your sleep suffers. Your relationship suffers. Your work suffers. Then your health suffers. It's a silent killer too. I didn't realize I was an addict until 8 years in. Hate watching TV shows and movies. You just watch something you know you already will hate, because you're too used to your routine to break out and do something different. Endless partying. What are some gruesome facts about pregnancy, childbirth, postpartum that not many people know? Nobody warned me that my insides would feel like they were falling out when I stood up the first few days after birth. My wife's placenta wouldn't detach after the birth of our daughter, so the nurse just went up in there and got it out. I was oohing and awing over our new baby girl, and I look over to see someone damn near elbow deep, treating my wife like a sock puppet. It was so jarring. Mothers are so damn tough, dude. It's unreal. Postpartum mental illness is a thing, and it can be horrific. A short time before you give birth, anywhere from 1 to a few days before, you will pass a mucus plug, which is basically a giant loogie that dislodges from your cervix and falls out of your vagina. Somehow it's even grosser than you would think. When you birth your baby, you also birth the placenta. When the placenta detaches from the uterine wall, it leaves a raw gaping wound the size of a dinner plate that bleeds for weeks. Make sure you have lots of large maxi pads on hand. Everything smells like old ham for basically the entire first trimester and makes you constantly feel like you're about to vomit. It's like a hangover that lasts for weeks or months. Even things you loved the smell of before now smell like the dirty coins from your grandpa's car's cup holder. Some lucky women have this through their whole pregnancy, along with the resulting nausea and vomiting. Your baby will come home with a huge gnarly scab attached to their belly button. My boyfriend wasn't prepared for this one. Apparently he thought that cutting the umbilical cord made it somehow detach from the baby right then and there. Nope. Big chunk of it stays behind, but will dry up over a number of days and eventually fall off. Passing clots the size of rocks, and bleeding for weeks after. Sometimes it takes weeks, * to be able to stand up, sit down, walk again without a ton of pain. No one fucking told me that the first time. I was so focused on how the actual birth might be painful. Had no realization that for over a month afterwards I'd be in danger of burning to death if the house ever caught fire because I could barely walk. Subscribe, my brothers.